Hey, welcome to an Intuitive Insights. This is Mama Michelle here. And today I wanted to share with you some information that came through what I would call I always call it like kind of the fairy tale realm, the realm in which most of us were raised in. We were raised to believe that the fairy tales can come true, but yet a lot of us are perceived as like having to find somebody to save us. And so this has a lot to do with the concept of women stepping more into their power and how it is that we might get tripped up on it. So, welcome in to the Clarity Room. That's what my office is called, the Clarity Room, because I truly believe that the integration of all aspects of ourselves, understanding our blueprint of who we are, gives us this anchoring in and confidence to rise up and to meet sometimes the challenges, sometimes the ideologies, or sometimes the perception of who we are in a way that magnifies the truth. And sometimes that truth means that there's some things we have to work our way through. So I will here in this channel always talk about human design and astrology because they have been a vast support in myself and all of my clients I work with into finding out who you are. And today's message was one that was they're always they're always something that I'm never anticipating. So there's going to be times I'm reading a little bit of my notes because I do try to write it all down. Because these happen for me when I go into my quiet moments. And so, one of the things that they did want me to share with everybody is to make sure that you are spending some time by yourself, 5, 10 minutes during the day with nothing on, right? Quieting yourself, giving yourself an opportunity to feel the breath and to come more in tune. But let's get to the juicy messages because I know that's why you're here, right? Okay, so one concept that I want to talk about really quickly was what I said at the beginning was the concept that most women have been raised in the philosophy of what I would call the Disney effect, where somebody is here to save us. And I do believe as time has gone on, I do have gray hair, so I was at the beginning of Disney, right? And I think that their messages have definitely changed. That's not what I'm saying, but still, there's quite a few women who have lived in the almost the ideology of someone's going to come and save me. And whether that's in a religious aspect or just in a relationship aspect, that's the thing that we all have to take a look at. What's still operating really quietly beyond what we understand sometimes? A while back, I was working with a young lady. She was in her 30s, and she actually really had that philosophy. She even told me at the very beginning how much she loves all the old Disney classics. And listen, who doesn't love a good moment to feel like, you know what I mean? Life is going to be grand. You know, I'm going to meet the perfect someone, and my life is just going to be filled with joy and happiness because that's the way most beautiful, movie flicks end. And it becomes kind of the unspoken place that you want to get to. And when we start to unravel these quiet, sometimes these are so quiet storylines that run in the background that we're not even cognizant of, that actually are causing ripples in your reality world because what we forgot to tell young ladies was you're here to light a fire under yourself, to give yourself the gift of learning who you are, and not by the pretenses of anybody else, not by you having to mold yourself into somebody that you think somebody can love. And I'm not saying everyone does that. If this resonates with you, then this message is particularly for you. So, what happened during this particular intuitive set for myself was, sorry, I got to move a few things here so I can read and see what I'm doing. Was that I had my guide. I have a fairy that pops through, very beautiful energy. And I love it because it's a beautiful energy in the essence of, when you study about fairies, right? Something that lived here on planet Earth at some point in time and still is alive, but it's not in the dimension that we are currently in. But a lot of people are starting to see them more and more. And in truth, as we begin to grow into more of the 5D experiences, these type of things are going to become more visible to people who are open and wanting to have and be, to see these type of things, right? So this particular message, I forgot to turn off all of my notifications. This particular message came down, and this is the first thing that she said was, um, the song came through Making My Way Downtown by Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 miles. So if that means something to you, take that for what it's worth, right? But she said in the message, why do you doubt yourself? Why give yourself a moment, even a moment just to say that I'm less than? So, and then she says, because it's a trap to keep you from evolving into the spirited form seeker that you are. And if you're listening to this type of message, that's what you are. You have always been a seeker beyond what is here in the 3D, and you've always felt that there's mysteries to why things happen, and that you can move through the points that feel deep and dark with more of an acknowledgement that we can be free of these confines that this earth space shows us. Why? Because it takes a bit of focus. The 3D energy is what is on the surface, easy pickings, no magic in that. But beyond the surface layer, there is always a depth of magic and miraculousness that resides in the space that needs to be looked at, but not only looked at, but possibly explored. The vastness of humanity's ability to tap into other dimensional spaces and beings is unlimited. Go beyond your current reality because the current reality traps the choice of the field, and you ask yourself in those type of situations things that may keep you, quote, in the 3D world. Go beyond that current reality and play out and ask to see things from the highest good of all entities involved. Ask and then stay a moment to see, feel, and hear and know that what is bubbling up is much more real than what you can imagine. The truth of how we are all here to play in the Earth's atmosphere was to provide a sense of security. But that got blown out of its reality when we kept playing and allowing ourselves to disconnect from the imagination. And it was easy to fall into what is, which is, if it is real, it will become. But the imagination never puts itself into a box. It never says we can't bend our vibes, so you will never see the millions of ways that you can be stuck. So, what I love about this message is that it gives us a higher perspective on when we are saying those things. And of course, catching ourselves, being in awareness, understanding what our vibes are giving off in the moment are things that help us to reanalyze and remember when I say those things, I just created a box for myself. I've created myself staying very small and confined in this 3D reality. And it's when I catch myself that I give myself an opportunity to blossom in a way that, when you see a beautiful wildflower and how certain areas it blossoms and it goes really big, and other areas it's just kind of sparse. Like that's how I see when we catch ourselves in this limiting space that women have a tendency, not all, please hear me, it's not all women, but we all in certain aspects of our lives think less than for ourselves. And your creativity, your ability to tune in, the idea that you are perfect because you came into existence. When we understand the concept of how we came into the world, I think if we all understood really how much work it took us to get into human form again. And although we all understand that sometimes Earth can be a tough place to be in. But if you know that your soul wanted to grow, that's why you came here. Your soul wanted to have an experience in the tangible world, right? Where it was very fixed and focused. But sometimes what happens is we get so fixed and focused on what's going wrong and what we doubt ourselves on that we limit what our potential is in growing into the fifth dimension, the fourth and fifth dimension. And I think you've all probably had peaks of living in the fifth dimension and it feels more magical, although there are still issues there, right? Um, there are still things we're still working on. We still live on a duality planet, but the duality starts to shift from safety and security to how can I be of service? And you know when you're in a 5D reality, because in truth it will feel like that. How can I be of service? Which means you're not doubting who you are in that moment. And because we are all still sitting in an area or space, when they were talking about it was easy pickings, it's easy pickings to sit in the fear of I'm not enough or who am I to think that I could do such a thing. And so they're asking us to step forward and see the potential of who you are. Ask yourself better questions. Give yourself the moment and the encouragement that you need. And sometimes that means you need to reach out to people who really can support you in the growth of you. I see a lot of um, business relationships and friendships, and even family members. Like things are evolving to the point where women are starting to notice, like, this particular relationship may not work for me anymore. And that's a hard thing to let go of. So if you're going through that, I'm giving you a big Mama Michelle hug, right? A virtual hug. Um, And if you've let some people go, I'm giving you a virtual high five, like you did it, right? Because it's not always easy to let things go, especially relationships, maybe jobs, maybe careers, maybe where you're living. But when we learn that things we are when we value ourselves more, that when we know we need a pickup, and you've got people in your corner that will give you that pickup, that will say, "Hell yeah, girl, you got to do that," and cheer you on with no animosity, no jealousy, none of that. That they're pure of soul, of heart too. They want you to grow. Because in truth, we're going to get to the point where we all realize no, we're in competition with no one. And so we can support everybody in their dreams and in their visions and in their pivots that they're going through. And so when you can hold that type of energy for yourself and own it for other people, the massive amounts of, I don't know, cheers from above. And I also want to include also contacting your angels, your guides, your God, whatever it is that you consider that's in the ethers, that faith-based, to also anchor that in more for yourself, right? Without the fear of other people have to do it my way. Do it your way and own that for yourself because that's what faith is. And they're there to cheer you on, right? It's there to cheer you on. It's there to give you the support that you need and give you the flow. Because when you start to hang and appreciate and ask yourself better questions. And when you're feeling less than and having some self-doubt, giving yourself a moment to pause and readjust your frequency, your vibes, what you're putting out into the world. And in a lot of times that has to do with what we talk a lot about in human design is what is my truest potential of my vibe, which is your aura, which is your energy type. And when you really study that aspect of yourself and own it to the next degree, look out because it will seem like you've done a quantum leap. Like I am now sitting in a different sphere. Like who am I? Where am I? Because the synchronicities become so prevalent that you have no idea. Like I didn't know life could be that juicy. And then you'll pop out because that's what we do right now. And that's okay. And there is no judgment about that. It's going to happen to all of us. So in truth, I think that what they're asking, if whoever resonates with this, is make sure that you know what's undercurrent. What is the thing that keeps tripping you over and over again? And if you need support in that, please reach out. Let me know. Um, there's so much through things that are difficult. There is always the sun shining behind the clouds. It never goes away during the daylight. And then the moon is always present at night, right? Whether we can see it or not. And so it gives us this premise that we are safe and secure. And that's why things kind of can seem like things are falling apart in some aspects. I'm feeling, if you're feeling overwhelmed, whatever the frequency might be, but instead of running away from it and ignoring it and not taking a moment to feel it, to heal it, you got to feel it to heal it, my friends. Um, and then asking your fairies to come in, but be prepared when you work with a fairy to be of gratitude, to harness what they're telling you. Um, because they can be a very fiery, they remind me of Aries in some aspects, very fiery energy and know what they want and can get easily irritated if you're not doing, the good things that need to be done for yourself, right? So I'm sending you many, many blessings and go below and see if there's some other aspects that might help support you if you're going through any type of transition, which the whole planet really is. Until next time, follow your passions and your purpose in life, my friends.